Hey guys, welcome to the Line Change. Before we dive into our topic today, I'm going to give a quick shout out and thank you to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see on display behind me. And you guys can check them out yourselves at gassjackart.com. You guys can also find him on Instagram at gassjackart. I have a link to his website in the description down below. Now let's get into our video's topic. We're going to be going over an article from Sportsnet written by the legendary himself, Iain MacIntyre, and for the first time, since he signed his extension, he speaks with Thatcher Demko. Yes, Canuck fans, finally we hear from Thatcher Demko himself. He's been, unusually quiet. So throughout the entire offseason, we didn't hear from him at all during the offseason, especially after his extension that he signed. Obviously, we heard from Brock Besser, we heard from Connor Garland, but we didn't hear from Thatcher Demko for some reason. He was like avoiding the media or something along those lines. I know he did have a baby over the offseason, so a big congratulations to Thatcher Demko on that. But we hadn't heard from him at all until now. So Demko finally sat down with Iain MacIntyre, and who better to sit down and talk to than Iain MacIntyre? So we're going to go over it, and they go over a bunch of stuff. They go over his contract extension. They go over his offseason, this upcoming season. They talk about that. So we're going to go over that, and we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. And then I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below, what you guys think about what Demko says and the article itself. I'm going to pull it up onto the screen here for you. There we go. And as you can see, the headline, Canucks, is Demko ready for rebound season? And I really like this quote, "That fire in me is back." And as you can tell from the title of this video, I made a little play on that. That fire burns in me is back. Obviously, for those of you that are not only just wrestling fans, but are big Killswitch Engage fans, This Fire Burns is actually one of my favorite songs by them, and that was why I had This Fire Burns in the thumbnail, and I want to do a little play on that. So let's go ahead and take a look at this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can go ahead and do that. But I did want to go over something that Demko said in regards to his contract extension. And he basically says what we already know. He's always wanted to be here. He made that known at the end of the season. He wanted to sign an extension. He wanted to stay. He wanted to be a Vancouver Canuck. He wanted to be here in Vancouver. And he basically reaffirms that, saying, I've always wanted to be here. We've had some tough times for sure as a team the last handful of years. There's been some great times, but there's been some struggles at times. But for me, I was drafted here, and I feel an immense responsibility to give everything I can to get this team to where it wants to go. I know the culture is kind of shifting in the NHL as far as the players have more rights and are able to maybe demand certain things or ask for trades or get out of contracts and things like that. But for me, I consider myself a pretty loyal guy. And after what we went through last year, I wanted to be part of the solution as opposed to kind of running from the adversity. I absolutely love that quote from Demko. Some great stuff. And that right there, we've talked about, a lot of people have been talking about, JT Miller being named the captain of the New York Rangers. And, a lot of people have been talking about, this Vancouver Canucks is leadership group. Obviously, you got guys like Petey, Hughes, obviously. Demko is among them as well. You even heard Adam Foote talk just yesterday in that press conference. He referred to Demko by name as a part of the leadership group, despite him, being goalie. But Demko is a big part of that leadership group. And that quote right there shows leadership right there. He goes on to say, I've been incredibly lucky to be here for as long as I have. And to your point of maybe waiting another year and getting more money, it's never been a money thing for me. I saw this as an opportunity to kind of tell the rest of the league that guys are still committed to being here. Once again, a great quote. Now, we move down. He goes on to talk a little bit about his popliteus knee injury that obviously, was a injury that was unheard of. It had never been seen before. Talks a little bit more about the injury itself, a little bit here. And then he goes on to talk about his offseason and his training. Demko goes on to say, yeah, we got to work pretty much right away. I missed enough time last year that I didn't feel like I was really needing that much time off. Trying to explain what I was going through last year with the popliteus injury. I can't really do justice to it. It's just such a breath of fresh air to be able to come into a season healthy with a very clear mindset. As far as what I needed to do and having the freedom to go out and do it, it's been about 5 months of a really detailed and disciplined approach to get me in a good spot to be ready to go this year. So that is, of course, great freaking news. Demko is healthy. We heard rumblings, guys from the team were saying Demko's healthy, yada. Now we've heard it from the man himself. He is healthy 100% going into the season, and obviously that is great news for Canucks fans. Obviously, Canucks fans are still a little worried, if the Canucks might, overuse Demko to start the season. But at the end of the day, he's healthy going into the season, and that is everything that Canucks fans want to hear. So I am absolutely thrilled to hear that he's, got a clear mindset, he's healthy, and he's ready to go. Talks a little bit more about his injuries, and then goes on to say another quote, talking a little bit more about his off-season training. This summer, just as much work as I was putting in the gym, I was putting the same amount of work into the mental side of things too. Last year was difficult, and I'm a human being. You naturally just start to question things, and you start getting worried about different things and different facets of your life. Being able to really slow down and have another child and have some perspective again slowly starts to feel like myself again. That confidence just kind of came hand in hand. So as we said earlier, Demko welcomed another child. So once again, a big congratulations to him. Talks a little bit about Demko and his wife welcoming a baby Penelope in May, a little sister for 20-month-old Dawson. Obviously talks about, the family living in Michigan, which we already knew. As, that is one reason why Demko, Hughes, Patterson, and Adam Foote all met in Detroit a few months ago. Talks a little bit about that. Moving down, and apparently Hughes lives about 15 minutes from Demko, which is awesome to hear. And Demko goes on to talk about a little bit of Rick Tocchet leaving. I think everyone was pretty shocked that Rick took off. Demko said of Rick Tocchet, who chose to leave the organization as a coaching free agent and signed instead the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm not really going to speak on that because it's in the past now, but I think Footy is a guy that would lace up the skates and go kill a penalty tomorrow. If he could, he loves the game, loves the hard parts of the game, and I think that's a huge, huge thing for our team. Just, excuse me, just maybe be a little bit grittier and be committed to doing the hard things. He's also very communicative with us, giving the leadership group a voice, and he's a guy that I feel does a really good job of walking the line between having a personal relationship with his players, but also being their boss. He's very straightforward. There's no blurry lines with him. He's a guy that guys want to play for, and I think he's going to get a lot out of our group. Moving down a bit, Demko talks about how he has everything he needs to perform, and now just has to go out and do it. It was such a crazy year last year. It almost, in a way, just felt like a write-off, and I hate to say that because we're all competing every night, but there are intangibles that sometimes just block a team from doing what they know that they can. I think the energy around this year is just about having that freedom and that fresh air in the room. We're in a better place now as a group. We're closer. Obviously, you don't want to have to go through what we went through last year to create camaraderie. Our team has made a conscious choice to make sure that that is the result, as opposed to going our separate ways. It was really satisfying to feel my body kind of transform back into what it was before the knee stuff, missing an entire summer and the better part of 8 months due to the popliteus injury. Your body just takes a hit. Other things start bugging you physically. So to kind of go in with a clean slate, I started to feel like myself again, and not even just on the ice or in the gym, but getting on the ground and playing with my kids. That is where it was like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm back to being strong. I'm back to being mobile. And here's the quote: that fire in me is back to wanting to really play and compete. So yeah, we accomplished a lot this summer. I just feel a lot more happy. So that is the article. Some great stuff from Thatcher Demko. And man, you just love to hear it. That fire in me is back. That is the soundbite. That is the quote coming from Thatcher Demko. And hey, man, I'm absolutely thrilled for him. I think he's, I'm smelling what he's selling. Yes, we're going to find out today at training camp as well as during the preseason, but obviously he's saying all the right things, just like Petey, just like other guys who, did not have a great year last year. They're all saying the right things. Now it's all about just putting actions to words, and I got absolute total faith in Thatcher Demko. We obviously heard about Adam Foote, talking about, how they're going to manage, the amount of games he plays. Adam Foote was very, clear about that. They're going to manage it. I'm going to be talking about actually that press conference that Alvin, Foote, and Rutherford did in a separate video. But I wanted to do this one on Thatcher Demko. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. What says you, Canucks fans, about Thatcher Demko saying, talking about his extension, talking about his off-season training, his off-season as well as this season? What are your thoughts on, him saying that fire in me is back? Obviously there was a lot of rumblings about, him being, snubbed for the Olympics. No, this isn't confirmed, but it is something that I heard that apparently Demko was not too happy about that. And he felt a little, snubbed by that, and that maybe lit a fire under his ass. So we shall see. But as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find us on social media. You can interact with us as well. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, we're everywhere. Go ahead and give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. And if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcast. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow, as well as rate and review us. It is, of course, greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the podcast as well. So that's going to do it for me and this video. As always, let's go Canucks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.